Alright, so we're going to graph a tangent graph. And our equation is y equals 3 tan times pi x minus 2 pi plus 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it taking the pi out. So y equals 3 tan times pi times x minus 2 pi over pi plus 5. So to find our a, it's whatever in front of the tangent, which is 3. And our amplitude is the absolute value of our a, which is 3. And our b is what we took out. So we took out a pi, so our b is pi. And to find period, it's 2 pi over absolute value of your b, which is pi. So pi's cancel out, and our period is 2. Our h is what is shifted, but when we took out the pi, we put it under. So pi's will cancel and the sign will change into a positive, so our h is 2 and our k is whatever is added, which is a 5.
Okay, so in order to graph a tangent graph, you need to graph 2 periods, which is equivalent to 9 different ticks on the graph. We already know the first tick mark because that's your h value, which is 2. So next, to find the rest of the tick marks, you need to find the width in between each mark, and to find that, you take the period and multiply it by 1/4. So in this case, the period is 2, which we found earlier, and you multiply that by 1/4, which is going to get you 1/2. So this is going to say how much space is in between each different tick mark. Next, you're going to take your first point, which is 2, and add that to 1/2, which is going to be 5/2. Then you'll take 5/2, add 1/2, and you'll get 3. Then you'll take 3, add 1/2, and get 7/2. Then you'll take 7/2, add 1/2, and you will get 4. Once you get 4, you'll add that to 1/2, and you will get 9/2. Then you'll take 9/2 and add 1/2, which will get you 5. Then you take 5 plus 1/2, and you get 11/2. Then you get 11/2, add it to 1/2, and you get 6. And 6 is your last point, which will be your last point shown on the tangent graph.
Okay, so if you're wanting to find the tangent graph of a given equation, the first thing that you're going to need to do is graph the cosine graph with the given phase shifts. So we already did that. And first we're going to look at our k value because that's going to give us our sinusoidal axis. In this case, our k value is 5. And so that's where we get this dotted line right here. Is up 5 on the y-axis. This is going to act as our sinusoidal axis. All right. Next we can look at our a value of 3. And so that is our amplitude. And that's going to tell us how many units above and below the axis we are going to go. So our max and our mins. In this case, it's going to be 8, so we're going to go no higher than 8, and then 2. We're going to go no lower than 2. We already found all our tick marks, so our graph is going to begin at our h value of 2, and then if we're graphing 2 periods, it's going to end at 6. Okay, so let us graph cosine. So we are going to start at 2, and since it's cosine, we're going to start at our maximum value of 8. So let me plot that here. And then next, we're going to hit our sinusoidal axis at the next tick mark. Then we're going to go down to our minimum. We're going to go back to our axis, up to our max, return back to our axis, go down to our minimum axis, and then we're going to end exactly where we're started at our max. And so I can lightly draw in the curve of this graph, but what's important to look at is just the little dots that we're given. Okay, so these dots are going to be really important because they're going to tell us the asymptotes and the zeros of your tangent graph. So your asymptotes are going to be anywhere at which there is a 0 in the cosine graph. So let's look at this. So right here at 5/2, our cosine graph would hit the sinusoidal axis. And in this case, it's going to serve as an asymptote. So we're going to draw some more dotted lines. So our next one is right here at 7/2. And then right here. And then right here again. So our graph is never going to hit that point. Okay, and then anywhere there is a maximum or a minimum in your cosine graph, that is going to be at which your tangent graph hits the axis. So we're just going to take these points and bring them up or down so that they are on the axis. Right. Okay, and so we can see that our tangent graph is positive. So that's going to give us what our curve direction is going to be. So it's going to go kind of close to the asymptote, hit a point of inflection, and go towards the other one. And we're going to do that for all of these that are in between. And then this one is just going to extend down like that. All right, so that is our graph for tangent.